Well, hello, everybody. Today is a great day in real estate, and thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have a great speaker, and he's going to be sharing with us the NAR ruling. But before we do that, Guillermo Reyes is a very successful agent in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Our experience with Guillermo was one of the best.
I've known Guillermo for 13 plus years and has always been my go-to for real estate transactions.
Guillermo helped me sold the condo on about 20 days on the market.
Guillermo is a rock star. He made our extremely difficult transaction stress-free.
He's a professional.
He's the best. Would surely recommend him.
Can be trusted.
Great guy.
Won't disappoint.
His price point is actually over $2 million. I know not all of you are in that range, but it is very important that he totally understands the NAR ruling, because you could see a $2 million price point, you gotta be on point. Well, without further ado, let's get right into this. So I'm gonna be asking you a few questions. Some of them are gonna be a multi-question subject. And so we're gonna get into it right here. So for the first question, this is just gonna be the introduction to the NAR ruling. So, Guillermo, can you provide a brief overview of the recent NAR settlement and its implication for real estate professionals?
Yes, Jeff, and thank you so much for having me on your talk here. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, this will be the first of many. And so, moving forward, I gave a brief call to our re-info link to kind of get an idea as to when they were going to do away with the commission portion of the MLS listing in. And this is something that, all of you are going to want to call in and sort of confirm. But it looks like August 13th is when the commission, the cooperating broker commission option on that MLS is going to go away. So not the 17th or 13th. So if you are looking to do some listing presentations, make sure that you have a dialogue around it. So, sellers are going to want to know. Question one, as you said, the introduction to the NAR ruling, and I made some notes because I want to make sure that we cover this seamlessly and we cover it quickly. So the overview is basically based on the recent NAR settlement that addresses antitrust concerns and introduced changes aimed at increasing transparency in our real estate transactions, particularly around commissions. And so the motivation around it was the need to ensure fair competition and clear communication regarding agent commissions to consumers. So meaning, just to kind of summarize it, the take was that it's always been unilateral, that the seller was forced to pay 5 or 6 or 7% commission, and they had no choice in the matter, that out of that 6%, the buyer's agent commission was going to be paid out. So now it's a bilateral, so the seller now reserves the right to cooperate, no longer as commissions. We're calling it now, moving forward, concessions. Okay?
Okay, great. Well, the next question to that is, what motivated the changes in the listing process due to this NAR ruling?
Yeah, as I said before, the motivation was the fact that sellers felt that they were being forced into paying the buyer's agent commission, and they had no choice in the matter. Now, with the new listing agreement, we're going to go into a couple of items in the new revision of the California listing agreement, which they've already been very proactive, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. But just to make it clear, no longer will it be unilateral. Now it's a bilateral. The seller reserves a right to cooperate via concessions.
Okay, great. All right. These questions are going to be what's the impact on the listing appointments? So the question is, how has the NAR ruling affected the way real estate agents conduct listing appointments?
Yep. So again, agents now they're going to need to be more transparent about their commission structures.
Okay.
And will have to adapt their listing presentations to include discussions on concessions and buyer compensation. Okay. And so the key changes here are going to be that agents are going to have to disclose commission splits more clearly and discuss the potential for concessions that could be offered to the buyers. And so I will share now, if you would allow me.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to share something with you guys. Let me see. Here we go. All right. So,
Oh, great.
yes. Can you see my screen clearly?
Yes. Yes, we
Okay,
can.
Great. Awesome. All
Thank
right.
you
I'm
for
gonna
sharing.
go down, and this is the new revision, by the way. You should have it on your win forms. If you go to the multiple listing addendum,
Right?
I'm going to scroll down to concessions explanation. Do you see that on 5A?
Yes.
Okay, so 5A, the second bullet point, concessions may include but are not limited to cost of escrow or title, lender fees, repairs, inspections, and buyer broker compensation. Okay, and buyer broker compensations. And so concessions identified in an MLS listing are not promises to pay, but instead indicate to a buyer that the seller will consider offers asking for concessions. Okay, so basically you can put that on the private remarks of the MLS. Seller shall consider offers asking for concessions to go towards buyer's agent, towards buyer's closing costs and any other items. You want to keep it simple. As you can see, this addendum clearly allows for those closing costs to also be utilized to go towards buyer's agent commission. And now I'm going to scroll up to so that's a big takeaway. So
Right.
moving forward, when you guys are having discussions with your sellers, you want to go right to the addendum. You want to bring that listing agreement, highlight it, and you want to come with this dialogue has to be rehearsed and nicely polished. Okay, so now we're going to go down to, do you see this page 107?
Yes.
So C1 and C2, compensation to seller's broker, only seller side of transaction. Okay, that can be a 2.5%. It can be a 3%. And there may be realtors are going to do maybe 2% commission here. As you know, commissions are negotiable. So let's say that this is a 3%er, for example, you put 3% there. And here's the nice thing. The interesting thing, item C2, additional compensation to seller's broker if buyer is unrepresented. Now, this can be an additional 1% for a total of 4%, or you can do a 2.5% on the compensation to seller's broker of 2.5% and then 1% here. So that'll be a 3.5% total commission earned. So the biggest fear before was that if an unrepresented buyer came to an open house, that the seller's agent was going to be doing double work for 3%, virtually not getting paid to represent the buyer. Now, it is clearly that this is now being allowed that you can make a little bit of extra money as a listing agent.
Wow.
Now, you can potentially make more money and take advantage of this market. I'm going to stop sharing now. And so those are really the big takeaways that when meeting with a seller, you want to go into these two items and go right to the addendum and go over the strategies that are important. And then I'm going to go into another dialogue that you're going to need to have. Really impress upon the seller that is important to advertise concessions to go towards buyer's closing costs right on the private remarks as a an amazing marketing tool. Okay, so I'm going to let you go ahead and continue on with the questions, but I wanted to give you guys those huge takeaways right off the gate.
That was really amazing because, you know, this is the heart of what it is on how to properly give this information at a listing appointment. And now you're talking about some marketing strategies, because definitely anybody who's knowledgeable about this will have an advantage in the marketplace. And I can see why you are very diligent in knowing this contract, because you're serious about your business.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yes. So, we got the key changes there on the impact of a listing appointment, but now let's move over to adapting to the new rules. Okay, so what strategies should agents employ to adapt to changes in the listing process?
No, this is super important. Now, agents, as I said earlier, should update their listing presentations if they haven't, to include detailed discussions on commission and concessions. Eliminate the word commission, discussions on concessions, training on handling commission-related objections, because sellers are going to be bombarding us with those type of objections, meaning they don't want to pay for any type of concession to a buyer broker, to go to a buyer broker commission, and obviously understanding the new rules is essential. Now, I'm going to give you let me see. I'm going to give you a huge perk right now for your audience.
Okay, great,
and
great.
You guys are going to want to have your pen and paper ready. Okay.
Got mine.
This is yes, sir. This is all based on the commission discussion, right? And so this is how we as listing agents need to explain it to our sellers. Now, here it is. Now, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we charge X% on the listing side and recommend that you offer X% in concessions to the buyer for their closing costs, which may include paying their agent. Now, this approach helps remain competitive and attract all buyers and their agents. Now, right? Now, here's the seller objection. If the seller asks to negotiate a lower commission, here's the answer. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, while commission is always negotiable, keep in mind that reducing it means less budget for marketing your property effectively. Now, if the seller doesn't want to offer anything to the buyer broker, here's the next objection handler. Most offers today will ask for closing costs to help for buyers. So you'll likely end up paying it anyways. Promoting concessions up front leverages marketing power and can improve your net outcome. At the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you want to get the most for the sale of your home, correct? And if I can position your home ahead of the competition by offering concessions right up front and creating transparency to allow you to net the most money for your home, would that be of interest to you?
I think that would be.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get started starting by allowing you to sign and giving me permission to start marketing your home, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Go ahead and start signing. Anyhow, that is the commission discussion that needs to take place. And, you know, my suggestion would be to listen to this YouTube video over and over again, write down your scripts, and include these objection handlers in your digital listing presentation.
Well, the good thing about this, everyone, is that I'll be going live with Guillermo on a regular basis because there are continuous changes. There's always questions, and the audience is very confusing. I mean, one thing I did learn just in this short time is that they changed the verbiage to concession.
Yes.
So commission, concession. So key thing, when you hear concession, you got to think, are they referring to also commission? Okay. So at least that's one takeaway that you could take from this particular video. We got a lot more questions, but let's continue on here because this
Yes,
is
sir.
good information.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. So we're here at the commission structure changes. Okay. How has the commission structure been affected by the NAR settlement?
Well, the impact, the commission structure now often includes a clear separation between the listing agent's fee and the buyer agent concessions. And we have been talking about all of this beforehand, and that's what is coming down to, giving the option to the seller that no longer are you obligated to pay the buyer's agent commission and the listing agent commission. Now it is a clear separation has been created between the listing fee and the buyer concessions. Now, the approach, agents charge a percentage on the listing side and will recommend offering a percentage in concessions to the buyer, which can include paying their agent once again. But you got to have this conversation.
Right. Okay, great. Well, now that you went through a lot of best practices, you went through some common objections. Here's one about training and preparation. What kind of training and preparation do you recommend for agents to stay updated with these changes?
Yes. And our business is just like the technology field. It's ever evolving.
Yes.
Now, the great thing is that objections have been the same since the beginning of time when it comes to real estate.
Right.
Now, you got to add a whole new set of objection handlers. And my recommendation as far as training, and we're going to do this, right?
Yes.
This is one of many training. We are going to do training on role playing these objections.
Yes.
Role-play.
Join us, everyone, for this.
Yes. So continuous education on the new NAR rules, role-playing commission discussions, and mastering objection handling. Now, that is a quick summary, but I got to tell you, this is where the 1%ers are going to succeed in this market. There's opportunity to make a lot of money in this changing market by becoming a listing agent. And we haven't even touched on becoming a buyer's agent, how that's going to change. That'll be on other training modules that we're going to do. I'm super excited about this opportunity, Jeff. But we're going to continue to empower our own group, right? I mean, or anybody from anybody to become successful.
Yes, we're here to help you clarify this and help you close more deals. That's the whole purpose of this, why me and Guillermo is doing this session. So here's a question. Are there any specific resources and tools that could help agents navigate through this new rules effectively?
Awesome. One of them is participating in relevant webinars like the one we're doing right now. And,
Yes.
and we gave some amazing takeaways already regarding the listing agreement and how to incorporate into your listing presentation and how important that is. And I'm sure you all realize now the importance of that. Okay. Utilize updated script books. Updated script books, meaning updated script books having to do with our current market that we're already gearing up to get into. Because if you have no dialogues and you don't have any scripts, how are your own scripts working for you now?
Right.
Are you being successful with your own listing presentation? Because a lot of times, we come from a place of ego. So take the E out of ego and just go and be open to learning and resetting and starting from ground zero as if you were a brand new real estate agent. This year marks my 23rd year in real estate, and I'm always excited to read a script book to learn something new, even though I've already read it a million times. Guess what? You become that much better at doing your scripts. The more you recite them, the more you internalize them, the better you become. And you and I talked about this.
Yes.
Why is guys like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Sylvester Stallone, why are they so good at their craft? Because they practice
Right.
their craft to become the very best in what they do in the field of acting.
Right.
Which is why they're rewarded with the most earnings, right? Will Smith, right?
That's right. Well, that's great. Well, thanks for all that information. And I have a few final questions here. This is regarding the future implications. Here's a good one. How do you see the real estate industry evolving in response to the NAR settlement?
Well, and this is just to put the icing on the cake. The real estate industry is likely to become now more transparent and competitive. So you got to get ready for that, and you got to start training. If you haven't, you got to start now.
That's right.
Agents will need to clearly demonstrate their value to their clients. Okay? And so that means really taking our craft seriously.
Absolutely.
This is the time to start doing it.
Okay, well, one last question. What's the long-term impact do you anticipate for these changes on the real estate market?
Yeah, and right now, there is fear in the industry. There's a lot of fear, YouTube videos out there about what's going to happen. A lot of realtors are even talking about getting out of the real estate industry because of the way the NAR ruling, what have you. I see it as an opportunity. Is the cup half empty or is it half full? So here's the long-term impact, and this could take anywhere from a year to 18 months. Increased transparency may lead to better informed consumers and potentially more competitive commission rates. The focus will shift towards providing, as a real estate professional, superior service and value, not only to meet the client's expectations, to exceed them. You can no longer be average. You have to be that much more superior than your competition. And that comes with practicing your craft.
That's right. Well, that was amazing. I mean, the bottom line, you have to get good at what you do. I mean, and I always say this in the trainings, if you're going to do real estate, be the best, work towards the best. You don't have to be the best, but do your best, but do your job. I see real estate agents, they do 1 hour a week of prospecting. No, you have to prospect every day. 80% of our business is all about prospecting. But, Guillermo, 20-year veteran, great San Francisco agent, Bay Area, San Mateo County, in particular San Mateo. My name is Jeffrey De Jesus, and I've been in the business for 20 years. I am looking forward to working with Guillermo more closely, having these talks to provide value to the industry. Until next time, thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, my friend. Take care. Enjoy.